Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of ChluyTalk. I am your host, Hella Chluy. Today we're gonna switch it up, and since it's Halloween, I got a special guest. His name is Sareth Ney. He's a fellow comedian slash podcaster, and he has his own channel where he interviews guests as well. So he actually interviewed me a few months ago on his channel for the Uncle Baby series. So make sure you go check that out. And without further ado, this is my man Sareth Ney from Colorado. How you doing, Sareth?
I'm doing well, Chluy. How are you, bud?
I'm good, man. Happy Halloween. So, you hit me up and you said, let's do a Halloween episode. At first, I thought about, taking a break for Halloween, but I'm like, nah, I might as well just keep it rocking. So I'm like, this would be perfect for you to tell some ghost stories, especially if you have any my ghost stories. I think those are the scary ones, and I could also share some of my little ghost stories too that I experienced in real life. So hopefully, I think it'd be cool to share because I've never really told anyone about my stories. So let's talk about it.
Absolutely. Happy Halloween to you too, Chluy, and looking forward to sharing some ghost stories and scaring some audience members in the audience. That'd be pretty cool. So
cool. Sounds good. So before we get into the ghost stories, you can quickly tell the audience a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and who's Sareth Ney.
Indeed. I was born and raised in Colorado, and my parents are, refugees from Cambodia, most Cambodian kids are. And I started working, when I was 9 years old at the restaurant as a dishwasher. And so my sister was, the waitress. So we were just, little kids running around helping our parents out, And so I lived there, and I was the first male in my family to graduate high school, and then the first to graduate college from my immediate family. And then I decided I need an internship to graduate college, so I reached out to my favorite director in Hollywood, and he's responsible for scary movies. So we're going to be talking about scary stories here. So he was responsible for Hellraiser and Candyman. And so he taught me how to write in scary form. And I read a book from him called Mr. Begone. It was about a demon that possesses a book while you read it. And so there was a page that was on the in the book that said, "You see that page moving by itself? That's me causing it to move." And the fan wasn't on or nothing, and then it was just moving like crazy. And I'm like, this is nuts. I got to reach out to this guy and teach me how to scare people. And then that's how that came about. And then I did my summer internship, and I got to hang out with the RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan for about 3 hours because I had an idea of bringing them together, but they didn't get to meet, so I ended up hanging out with him for about 3 hours.
Wow.
And
Wu-Tang.
yeah, and then all that good stuff. And I moved back home. I said, Clive, it's time for me to go home. And he tweeted about me, and that launched my career in the very beginning, when I first met him. And I moved back home. I said, I'm moving back home, and I need to just get away from LA. It was a bit too much for me. And he goes, I totally understand. And so I was a concert journalist, and I kept that going. And I wrote about my little hometown of Pueblo, Colorado. And I said, I'm moving to Florida again. And I started doing stand-up. And they said, all right, I just want 3 bands and 3 comics, and send me on my way. And so they did, and I tagged one member of each band, and they said we all went in on this. And then that's how Sareth Fest was born. And so I have my own festival in Colorado.
Oh, that's dope,
That's
man.
everything in a nutshell.
Oh, wow. Congratulations on your journey, man. I'm looking forward to hearing about your ghost stories and stuff. You said you wrote a book.
Yep, I wrote some journals. There was 18, and I had them all published. And in the concert articles that I did. But the screenwriting is what made me pick Mass Comm, and so that was that. And I started writing movies and making short films, and then I haven't made a full length movie, but in time I'll make a full length movie. So
Awesome, man. Make some come out movies or something one time for the culture. Some
yeah,
ghost movies. That'd be lit.
indeed.
I want to get right into the ghost stories, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, hit us with some ghost stories, man. I'm gonna pass the mic to you, and let's listen. I might get shook. I might not sleep. I might sleep with the lights on tonight.
Indeed, most definitely. It's like, I guess we'll start back in '93. I mean, you and I both have sleep paralysis, and we talked about that earlier.
Oh yeah. Go ahead, man.
I guess
Sleep
we'll
paralysis.
start with our sleep paralysis stories. And
Mhm.
when I was in '93, I believe, I went to Khmer for the first time. And for those American that's watching, it's Cambodia. Uh, I I had sleep paralysis for the first time. I didn't know what it was. And I think it all started when I accidentally was in someone's way in Cambodia while he was working, and he gave me this look. And I think that's where like the curse of the demons came from. Like each time I would feel like that pressure on your chest. I'm not sure if you feel that too when that happens.
Of course. See, like you can't move. It's cold. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and
Let
I
me
was
know.
one instance was like it was kind of like I was laying on my bed, and my eyes were open. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream, but there was like this black smoke right above my head. And then I hear, like you said, like a whisper in my ear. Like I couldn't make sure, like, hear what it was, but I knew that it was not human, but it was like some kind of spirit. And then all of a sudden it was gone, but like you could hear the footsteps walking out the door and the door opening and all that stuff.
How old were you when you experienced this for the first time?
It was like 11.
How and how did you feel? Like, were you like scared out of your mind? Did you tell
Yeah, I
your
didn't know what
parents?
it was. Like my parents had to call like in monks and shamans and like
Mm.
bless the house, and it was just like we didn't know what it was. And watching like that movie, A Nightmare on Elm Street, with Wes Craven. He said that the inspiration for that movie was like folks from Southeast Asia with when they couldn't sleep. And so it was just like it seemed like everything was making sense with me and my horror days and all that stuff. So it was quiet. So how about yours? Like, what was like your sleep paralysis story like?
I was like, I think 15 years old, man, and I was just like sleeping on my bed, and it was like really early in the morning. I was like half asleep, about to wake up. I just half asleep, like how when you wake up, you barely open your eyes, you see nothing but blurriness. You're still like half asleep, but also like your eyes are open. And then all of a sudden, I felt like I started feeling scared for out of nowhere, like a fear. And then all of a sudden, like I couldn't move. It hit me. So like, the spirit or whatever, or sleep paralysis. It was weird because I couldn't move. I was trying to, how you try to fight it off, try to shake, try to do whatever, scream, and nothing comes out. I was trying to do that. It felt like an eternity. It felt so long, but it was probably only a few seconds, because I was so scared. So I was really sweating. I was trying to fight it off, but I couldn't move or scream. And then I felt like this cold presence on my chest. I was on my back, trying to like shake it off, but I was so scared because I've never felt anything like this in my life. And then it went away eventually, but I think that was like the first time, but like a few other, and then I started getting like almost every day, dude, as a teen from 15 years old and up. And some instances were scarier than others. So that's my first time. So that was probably one of the scariest. But there was times where I would get the sleep paralysis, and then my bed would shake, and I hear like some demonic voices in my ear, like and then it's like sometimes I feel like a sledgehammer to my head, like boom, like I snap out of it. Like it's really weird. Like some of them is like when they whisper in your ear, you try to make out the words. I don't know. It's like I don't know if it's Khmer. I don't know if it's like some kind of like I don't know. It's like spiritual talk, but it's like it was scary. Like it was like in my ear. I could hear it clearly, and then can't move. So it's like I don't know. It came to the point where like I've been getting it became normal for me because I go to sleep preparing for it. I know that's coming, you know. So it's like, and then as I got older, you know, I stopped getting it. I don't know the explanation behind it. Like, you know, science says it's sleep paralysis has to do with our sleep, like REM and stuff like that. But like, I don't know. Like from experience, like you can't really explain, you know, to sometimes because you're not the one like feeling it, you know. And I've I've never I've never diagnosed for being like crazy or nothing like that. I've never had any like mental issues. It's just like I kept getting it and stuff, you know. So you know, like you said, like you know, my parents went and got some shamans too, and we get some monks to bless the house as well, you know. And yeah, so but I definitely want to talk more about it too. But that's pretty much it for sleep paralysis. But there's a other story. Maybe I could save it for later. It's about me actually getting possessed by demons or spirits in the house. But yeah, but I definitely
Indeed.
want to hear your story about your ghost stories and stuff. What you did you experience? This is what you experienced in Sokomayo, or is there other stories that you've had as well?
Yeah, I have like two I'd say like three of them that are pretty intense. Like like the second one, like another sleep. They're like two more sleep paralysis and like and two more ghost stories, I believe. And the second one was like I was in 2006. I went back to Sokmai and visited my uncle, and I was in his house, and I felt like it was another one on top of me, but this time I could taste my own blood, and I'm like, this is really weird. Like it was like choking me and stuff, and that was like one of them. And when I was at Clive's studio, I passed out on his like couch in his conference room because he goes, "Here's the keys. If you can't, if you're too tired to drive home, stay here and don't even go down the canyon, or else we'll get into a wreck." I'm like, okay. So sleeping is in the conference room on the couch, and that was there, and I heard the door open again, footsteps, because it was like all these tile floors, and you could hear it, and like the acoustics was there, and he came over the next day, and I go, "Hey, Clive, is this house haunted?" And he was like, "Yeah, this house is haunted." And it's been in his book called Coldwater Canyon or Cold Heart Canyon. And there's a lot of people that visit there. They go, "We can't go down the stairs because there's all these paintings in there, and we can feel their eyes, watching us." And I'm like, "This is some crazy stuff," And I have a Cambodian ghost story that happened. Uh, I think that came to life that was freaking me out, like to this day. And it was about like my maternal grandparents. That's the only reason why I went back to Cambodia, is just to go see them. And like I met them both like in my first visit when I was like in '93, right? And they were like healthy and they were moving around and all that good stuff. And then the second time that I went to go was in 2002, and my grandpa was like, he had dementia, he was like Alzheimer's, he couldn't even move, he just like stayed there in one spot the whole time. My grandma was like out and about walking around, and she was like, sorry, your grandpa can't move, and he doesn't remember anybody, and at all, like nobody in the villages, nobody. And but when I appeared, he remembered me, even though I've only met him once, like which was like 10 years before that. And he was like, "Yeah, so like I feel bad. Like I wanted to like hang out with you and take you around the villages and all that stuff and go on a cart ride with you and show you around Tagao." And I'm like, "It's all good, Grandpa. I mean, you're tired. You can't move and you don't remember anybody. We might get lost." And then 2006 rolls around, and he passed away. And I remembered him telling me that story, how he wanted to take me on a journey throughout the village. And my grandma remembered that story too. And so I go to bed, I wake up, and like the only way to have like the lights turn on in that house, in my grandma's house, was to turn on the generator first. And so everything was pitch black. Everyone was sleeping in the living room on the floor mats like they do whenever there's company. And I go out of my room and I go to the back and I use the restroom. But the problem was like the bathroom on the ground, the toilets are on the ground. and there's like right next to the shower, and you got to take the tub the bucket that's in there. You have to take a pot and you have to rinse everything out and wash your own poop down the drain and everything. And on my way back, there was like these slots that were above the room that I was staying at, and like lights were shining through it, like a solid light. And I'm like, this is weird. There shouldn't be lights in the house because the generator's not on. So I go back to my room, and the bed had this indent, and it was still warm. And when you leave the bed, like your body heat's gone. And I'm like, I didn't pay no attention to it. So I go to bed, and I laid my head to rest, and I dreamt that my grandpa was taking me on a tour of Cambodia in a cart. And, I looked to the left and right, and I didn't see him. So that was like his way of, keeping his promise. And it was crazy.
Wow.
That's like my Cambodian ghost story.
That's crazy.
Yep. And I it was like, and a couple of years later, like, 4 years later, that's when the whole Clive Barker thing came around. And I wrote this horror story about, Cambodia. And like, I was watching like the Killing Fields to get inspiration, and, and reading on books about, the Khmer Rouge and all that stuff. And I thought, well, why don't I write a story about like, the Khmer Rouge soldier and how he didn't want to be the one that killed his own people, And I gave it to the vice president at the time that was there, and he goes, this story scared me for like 3 weeks straight. And he goes, like, cause he never, he's heard about the Khmer Rouge and all that happened, but he didn't expect that story to come out of me, But yeah, how about you? Have you had any experiences with like any ghosts? Like,
yeah, like I was saying earlier, there was this one time in my teens as well, probably like 16, 17. I'm like, I've been getting like daily sleep paralysis. But this one time, I guess I got possessed by like two spirits, according to the monk, because like my parents didn't know what was wrong with me. I was it felt like I was choking, like I couldn't, like I ate like I think I ate a garlic bread, but I couldn't. It felt I couldn't. I felt like it was stuck in my thing, my throat or whatever. So they rushed me to the hospital. My parents rushed me to the hospital, and the hospital said there was nothing wrong with me. So they just gave me a bunch of like I think it was antacids. I think it was like they thought I had, because I told them I ate that garlic bread, but I kept on burping, like I couldn't breathe, and then they sent us home. They took like 16 vials of blood from me just to say that I got a little bit of allergies, but that's it. Like there's really nothing wrong with me health wise. So they sent me home, and yeah, and so my parents were still curious to see what the hell's wrong with me, because I kept on making that noise, like I couldn't, like I'm trying to, like something, like I wasn't forcing myself. I just kept on making that like gagging noise, like I'm choking. So they took me to like a family friend. He's a shaman. He's like a Khmer witch doctor type, spiritual healer that we've been going to for a long time. He's been helping the Khmer community in Longview, Washington at the time. He's actually one of my friend's grandpa. So we went to him in Vancouver, Washington, and we did a whole ceremony type thing where he did all kinds of, ballet and stuff, and Khmer, like, the the spiritual stuff, like, like the crew and the Khmer crew do, they light the incense, they do this whole ceremony with like grains of rice, like they'll shape the rice in like a human body, and then they'll put all kinds of incense. It was weird. So it was like, but like when he was doing it, like he said, he told my mom and dad that there was two spirits in me that possessed me. So I guess he took them away from my body and just tossed it out the front door and just did all kinds of like Buddhist type chants and stuff, So I think from then on I was good. So yeah, but that's weird. That's like one of the scariest like experience I've had, because it was like being possessed, and then the whole time I thought I was choking on something. So, but I guess the spirits were like pulling on my diaphragm, like just they were just tugging on my insides or something. So it's weird. So yeah, like I've never told that story before. So hopefully you guys are can imagine what I was going through. Like I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like it's hard to explain. Like, but I remember it clearly. Some things you never forget, and this is something I won't ever forget. Kind of like traumatized. I'm good now. I don't even get sleep paralysis anymore. I'm at peace, man. I feel good. So yeah, that's my scariest story that I experienced. So yeah.
Indeed, it happens a lot to like people that are like young, or like they felt like weak or something. And I've done some research on it, and I think I blame it on like watching all those horror movies growing up.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's what led me to the path that I had gone through. And it's like just constantly Freddy Krueger, Candyman, Pinhead, Michael
Yeah.
Myers, like all the time, growing up.
Yeah, that
And
was
that
on
really didn't help out my cause,
TV.
you know.
Shoot, my parents used to like watch the scary Khmer ghost movies, which I think that was like way scarier to me. Like the App movies, the witch with the flying head. They call it App, and it was like that was kind of. I didn't even sleep I slept with the lights on for a long time in my teens. But yeah, my parents love watching ghost movies. But as far as Chucky, I didn't think that was scary. Freddy Krueger was to me it was like. It was scary, but it wasn't, because to me it's like
Indeed.
I just looked at him as like a pizza face guy. It was like it was like show me some ghosts. He was more like
Yeah.
a villain, like in your dream, right? So it was like I get really scared with the ghost movies. The ones in like they wearing white with the long hair and they're floating. Those are the type of movies that scare the hell out of me. Yeah.
Indeed. Like, the one that scared me the most was Candyman, and that's the one that Clive came up with. And like for 6 years, like I didn't sleep with the light. Like I slept with the light on and used the restroom and with the doors open, the lights on, even when it was daytime. And like I had to go to sleep with like the radio on, and it was just too realistic for me. And I'm like, I'm glad they're doing like a retelling of the story for next year with Jordan Peele and Nia DaCosta and stuff, and hopefully Tony Todd comes back. But that movie just hit me like right into the soul. It was just like, man.
What's the scariest movie? What's your scariest movie of all time that you would rank in the movies that you ever seen in your life?
I'd have to go with Candyman. I mean, everyone can say like The Exorcist and like Rosemary's Baby and Texas Chainsaw, but nothing really scarred me for that long. Unlike Candyman, I think, and I don't think I want to say his name any more times than that, or else he'll appear and I'll get killed with a hook.
Yeah.
How about you? What's your scariest movie that you've ever
Probably
seen?
those Asian movies, either the Chinese ghost movie that are dubbed in Khmer, or just like the Khmer app movies. I don't even know the name, but I remember it scaring the. I think my mom had a poster back in the '80s. It's like this, there's this Khmer poster. It's like a horror movie, but it's from like the '50s, I think. And there was like this poster of it, and my parents had that hanging on our living room wall. So it was like, when the lights go off, you look at the poster, and it's like some scary looking face. I don't even know the name, but I know that it was one of the scariest movies ever. It just traumatized me as a kid. So yeah, so probably the Asian movies like that, the Khmer ones, and even the Chinese ones that are dubbed in Khmer.
Yeah.
Khmer movies.
The scariest thing on my wall now in my parents' kitchen is their 6-year-old calendar. They still haven't taken down. So
Oh really?
yeah.
Is it ghost calendar?
No, it's just it's just like they love like just leaving stuff on the walls that are just like old, but they have like those Asian store calendars where it's like a nice like plant or a nice bowl of fruit, and then they have all the dates on the bottom, and it's like, oh, that's a really nice picture, and they just leave it up there.
Yeah.
It's been like since 2014 since it's been
Yeah.
up there. So
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I think my mom has calendars that are expired. They just leave it up there.
yep,
Yeah.
indeed. If only if we can go back and not deal with the 2020 COVID stuff, that'd be.
Yeah, man. Shoot. COVID, man. Crazy. You have any more ghost stories? Like any ghost stories that people told you that you want to share with the audience?
That told me. I don't think I have that many. Like, all the stories that I had was like sleep paralysis, and the book
Mm-hmm.
I was reading that was possessed, and like,
Mm-hmm.
seeing my grandparents. But there's some other stuff that I noticed that happens to me whenever I go to cemeteries to go visit loved ones. It's weird. Like, first, like I'm standing in front of their grave, their tombstone, and all of a sudden it's sunny outside and starts raining, and then while it's still raining, like my nose bleeds, and it happens every single time. I'm like, why is this happening? Am I surrounded by ghosts? And like, it's just weird to have that feeling, to have like your nose bleeded with the rain, and it just out of nowhere. And it only happens when I go to cemeteries too.
Dang. So it just like bleed and you just feel it coming down
Yep.
out of nowhere. That's weird. Yeah.
And there's a place in Florida that's called Casadega, and I'm thinking it's like one of the most haunted towns that you can go to, and maybe I should see like one of those tarot card readers or those mediums and see what the
Mm-hmm.
heck is like, surrounding me. Find out like where did the sleep paralysis come from? Why did this
Mm-hmm.
book just the pages move when I was,
Hmm.
just minding my own business and reading this book, and just finding out like why my nose bleeds, and how did that story of my grandparents, like how did that happen? Like, just I want to know everything.
Yeah. Have you ever spoke to like a tarot card reader before, or like a psychic or anything like that?
I haven't, even though like I think I should, just because I'm curious about the whole like afterlife. Like, where do we go when we die? Like, does it happen like the butterfly effect when we die? The light at the end of the tunnel is actually the hospital room, and then we become a baby again.
Yeah,
And
I always have that type of wonders too. I always wonder, but yeah. So sometimes like I live right by like a psychic shop that says psychic on the window. Like one time she was standing outside. She's like, "Yo, you have a good energy. I want to give you a tarot reading." In my mind, it was like, she's trying to make money. And then I was like, I feel like sometimes I wonder, like, I want to know, but I don't want to know about my life. I feel like I just want to see what happens on my own. But like, because what if she tells me something I don't want to hear? Some
yeah,
kind
that's
of
another
yeah.
one
So it's
too.
like you never know. It's like I don't want to. I feel like we shouldn't even know our future. We're not supposed. We're not supposed to know. We just gotta live through it. Because what if she tells you you're gonna get hit by a car tomorrow? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know. I,
indeed.
and plus, it's like I think she wanted like $25. I was like, you never know if it's I don't know. Not to
Just trying to
knock on
hustle
it.
you from
Yeah,
all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. You never know. I just don't know. I just don't want to know.
Indeed. Are your parents as superstitious as like that as
You know how Asians are. Yeah, they're hella superstitious. Especially my mom. She always like wants to go to the temple and stuff and this and that and get blessed and she's very superstitious. Yeah,
Indeed. Same here.
like
They're like, make sure you don't take pictures with people in odd numbers, and
yeah, like
and
three's bad luck. They say, right?
yeah.
So like I've been taking threes, so I'm like, dang. Some superstitions are weird, like your left eye twitch is good luck or bad luck. It's one of the two, or your right eye twitches is good luck. I think. You haven't heard about that?
Uh-huh. And
Yeah.
if like if you're like if you hear ringing in your ear, someone's talking about you, and if
Mhm.
your palms itch, that means money's coming your way, and
Yeah,
just all
stuff like
these other
that.
things. And
Yeah.
the
Or if
black
you
cat. If
if you bite your lip, someone's talking about you. I'll be like, sometimes I bite my lip in my sleep. I'm like, shit, who's talking shit about me? Who's talking shit about me right now, man? I just bit my lip in the middle of my sleep. Come
woke
on,
me up.
man. Stop gossiping, man. Shoot. Nah, it's all good.
Indeed. Do you have any like when you go visit your loved ones at like the cemeteries? Do anything happens to you or anything? Or
I just get the chills, like you know how you get the chills, like the coldness around. But like, I don't think much of it. Like to me, a cemetery, I feel like is a place of peace and like I don't ever feel anything. I don't feel fear at the cemetery. It's a place for to me is a place to pay respects to your loved ones. Thank you for the ghost stories. I think this is
Yeah, break up the the flow a little bit and refresh and resurrect, and all that good stuff. And
All right, Sareth. So I think we had a little good conversation, good stories, and I appreciate you coming on ChluyTalk to tell your stories. And where can we find you on social media?
Indeed, go visit my website, aqdpi.com. If you say it fast, it's aqdpi.com. And you'll see my future shows, my stand-up videos, all that stuff, storytelling, all that wild stuff. There's I'm having a show in November 21st at a horror cafe called Jonesy's Escape in the middle of the Florida forest. And online ticket sales that are happening. I'm donating my 100 of the proceeds to the Colorado fires where I'm from and the Cambodian floods that happened recently. So hopefully that helps out both of where I come from. So,
wow, respect. That's what's up, man. All right, appreciate you, brother, and everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and see you guys on the next one. And have a happy Halloween. Be safe. Stay healthy.
I appreciate you, brother. Take care.
Take care, Sareth.
Come out in this house. There's some come out in this house. There's some come out in this house. There's some come out in this house.
I'm CAS certified come out.
There's some come
all up in my house. Making noise up in my kitchen. Yo, I thought it was a mouse. I'm Clyde.
Come out in this house.
Clyde.
Come out in this house.
Man,
I'm
dealing with some punk ass come out. About to punch you in your mouth. Yeah, you punk ass come out. I drop kick you from my couch. Yeah, punk ass come out. I'm screaming come out, come out, come out. Get your ass out of my house.
There's some come out in this house. There's some come out in this house.
This is Sareth. You're checking out ChluyTalk.